world? Established Rich coming right back at you. Today's conversation is about power, real power, and what it looks like when a man comes home from prison, not as a signed artist, but as a boss. I'm talking about Pooh Shiesty and his move to Collective Music Group under Yo Gotti. And before anybody gets emotional, let's be clear about what this is. This is not a standard record deal. This is a distribution deal. This is ownership. This is a black CEO putting a black artist in a position to run his own record label. Pooh Shiesty is coming home with his own imprint, CGE, under the CMG umbrella. That's not a step forward, that's a level change. And you can't talk about this move without talking about why it makes sense. Because Pooh Shiesty didn't come up in a vacuum. He came up under Gucci Mane, 1017. And let me say this clear so it's no confusion. There was no public shots between Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane. No diss records, no subliminals, no back and forth. What people have been speculating about is something very different. The rumor floating around about a Los Angeles robbery involving Gucci Mane is rumored to be tied to Pooh Shiesty. The theory being whispered is that it was tied to his contract.
Actually, Gucci Mane was just robbed recently in they say it was in LA. I know that I don't know if you got to see the whole Gucci Mane Pooh Shiesty beef that's been going on. He was just robbed for his wedding ring and his watch. And they say Pooh Shiesty might allegedly have something to do with it, but they're not sure. But apparently him and Pooh Shiesty had a meeting in LA, and the meeting was over Pooh Shiesty trying to get off the 1017 label. And the whole turmoil between him and Pooh Shiesty happened because apparently Pooh Shiesty didn't like the way he handled the death of Big Scar. Big Scar was one of Gucci Mane's artists that was signed to 1017. He passed away over an overdose. He's from Memphis. He's actually Pooh Shiesty's little cousin. So him and Pooh Shiesty came up together. When Big Scar died, Gucci was supposed to pay for the funeral, which they said that he didn't. Then his wife posted receipts that he did pay for the funeral, but he also then asked for the chains back. I believe he had 4 chains that he gave to Big Scar. He asked for Big Scar's chains, and that turned into a whole online beef, a whole online orchestra. And Shiesty, I guess, just wasn't really feeling the way he went about it.
The idea, again, is that Pooh Shiesty wanted out of his deal and that the robbery was a means to create leverage to force a separation. I'm not saying that's true, and I'm not accusing nobody. I'm just saying that's what people have been talking about online and in the streets. And whether it's true or not, the fact that it exists tells you how serious this transition is. Because this ain't about emotions. This is about control. Pooh Shiesty is young, but he ain't dumb. And when you locked up, you have time to think, time to watch who move for you, who's supporting your family, who benefits while you gone. We don't know who was paying what, who was helping his mom, who was helping him hold things down at home. But we do know this, when he comes home, it's Yo Gotti putting him in position, not just with a check, but with structure. There are reports of a $10 million advance and a rose gold Rolls Royce Cullinan as a welcome home gift. Whether every detail is exact or not, the message is loud. This is an investment. And this is what makes it bigger than music. This is a Memphis CEO building a Memphis artist into an owner. That does not happen often. Most artists come home looking for a deal. Pooh Shiesty is coming home with one, and he giving them out. And you can see the shift already. Studio footage with Glorilla, energy back, vision sharp. This is what it looks like when time away teaches you business. Now, let's talk about Gucci Mane with honesty and maturity. This is not the Gucci from 15 years ago. This is a sober man, a married man. A man who has changed his life. And from the outside looking in, it appears his wife is heavily involved in his day-to-day decision-making. That may be great for his personal life, but it's shifted his music business dynamic. Gucci's legacy is untouchable. His overall business is in good standing, but his music moves different now. And for a young artist coming home from prison, navigating Memphis politics, looking for security, ownership, real backing, CMG makes more sense. This isn't betrayal. This is evolution. Pooh Shiesty is not coming home to be managed. He is coming home to manage. And that's why this move feels different. Because when you change levels, you change rooms. And not every room is meant to come with you. The question ain't who lost. The question is, what happens when a young artist comes home with leverage instead of dependence? And that's where this story really starts. Now let's stay right here, because this is where the conversation gets heavy. Not because it's drama, but because it's politics, real politics, industry politics, street politics. You can't talk about Pooh Shiesty moving to Collective Music Group without talking about Memphis and what Memphis has been going through since he was locked up. Memphis ain't stand still. Memphis changed. Alliances shifted, and the shadow of Young Dolph looms over everything. You can pretend it don't. You can try to talk around it. But anybody from that city knows that moment altered the entire landscape. When Pooh Shiesty went in, the city was one thing. When he comes out, it's something else. And here's the reality people don't like saying out loud. When you locked up, you're not just losing time. You losing position. You losing daily access to information, alliances, and protection. And when you a high-profile artist from a city under a microscope, that matters. So the question becomes simple. Who is the safest place to land? Who has the structure? Who has the capital? Who has the power to move without making noise? And that answer right now is Yo Gotti. Not because he flashy and not because he loud, but because he's organized. CMG is not a rap crew. It's a company, lawyers, distribution, infrastructure. This is about being protected without having to speak. And this is where the Gucci Mane part gets complicated. Not because of beef, but because of position. Gucci is an icon, a pioneer, a legend. But he is also an Atlanta artist who has deep ties to the Memphis scene through his association with Dolph. And whether people want to admit it or not, that association carries weight. Not emotionally, strategically. For a young artist trying to come home clean, quiet, and focused on business, that matters. This ain't about who did what. This is about who you standing next to when the dust settles. And here's where the CMG deal looks even smarter. This isn't just a signing. This is a shield. A distribution deal means control. It means you ain't waiting for permission. It means you ain't trapped in the old contract language. And it means you building for the long game. Pooh Shiesty ain't coming home trying to chase hits. He coming home trying to chase stability. And that's a different mindset. Now let's address the contract side without getting legal. When artists are locked up, they vulnerable. Deals get interpreted, terms get enforced in ways you don't anticipate, and wanting out of a deal don't always mean disrespect. Sometimes it means you've outgrown the structure. Sometimes it means the deal no longer matches the risk you're taking. So when people start whispering about extreme measures being taken to force separation, I can't believe that, but I do understand why people connect the dots. Because when a man comes home with a new power base, people start asking how he got there. And the truth is probably simpler. Time taught him. Time showed him who had his back and who didn't. Time made him realize that being signed ain't the same as being safe. And that's why the CMG deal matters. It's not about choosing sides. It's about choosing survival. Pooh Shiesty is coming home to a city that expects him to move different. And he is. Not with chaos, not with noise, but with ownership. And in a game where most artists never make that transition, this is a major move. Not just for him, but for what it represents. A black CEO putting a black artist in a position to hire black people, to create opportunity, to build something that lasts longer than music. And that's why this story is bigger than the headline. This is a shift in how power moves after prison. And the city is watching. Everybody is watching. Not to see if he drop a hit, but to see if he moves smart. And right now he is. When you step back and look at the whole move, it ain't really even about who won. It's about who grew. Pooh Shiesty is coming home different, more positioned. He ain't coming back begging for a playlist. He coming back with a business plan. And that's a rare sight in hip-hop. Most artists come home trying to pick up where they left off. Pooh Shiesty coming home trying to skip a level. Signed to Collective Music Group under Yo Gotti with his own imprint, his own structure, and his own future. And it deserves applause. Because what Yo Gotti did here was bigger than music. A black CEO didn't just sign a black artist. He partnered with him. That's how we changed the game. That's how we stop the cycle of dependence. This is what it looks like when a man comes home with leverage. Now let's talk about the part people don't want to say out loud. Gucci Mane. Gucci Mane is a legend, full stop. His contribution to hip-hop is locked. But like I said earlier, this is not the same Gucci Mane from years ago. I don't believe Gucci has any interest in moving backward. It serves him no purpose. He has too much to lose and too much to protect. And that's why I don't think anything gonna come from that. Maturity changes outcomes. But here's the part I can't ignore. Pooh Shiesty is young. And youth comes with impulse and confidence. And sometimes misunderstanding power. So the question that lingers is simple. When you come home with money, status, and a new power base, how do you move? Do you move quiet and build? Or do you let old habits test new blessings? We've seen this movie before. Artists come home with everything they asked for and lose it by moving like they still got nothing. This is the moment that defines the next 10 years of Pooh Shiesty's life. Not his music, not his image, his discipline. Because coming home a boss only matters if you stay one. Yo Gotti opened the door, CMG provided the platform. Now it's on Pooh Shiesty to walk through it without burning it down. This is bigger than rap. This is about what happens when a young man gets a second chance at real power. Do you build a legacy or do you become another cautionary tale? I hope it's the first one. And I don't think anything bad is gonna come from this. Not with growth, not with maturity, and not with business first. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Like, comment, subscribe, establish rich. I'll be back with another one. Peace.